We said 2 weeks ago that we have a quarterback that's coming into this draft class that has not been talked about that is going to become our guy, we think.
Yep.
Now, we know Bryce Young is highly touted as Steph Curry of football.
Of course.
Is what they're saying. Was that Alabama didn't win a national championship, but everybody's saying he's incredibly talented and he's electrifying. And we have Bryce Young. You don't, is literally what Reese Davis has said on College Game Day whenever he's talking about an Alabama game. And people like C.J. Stroud, because what C.J. Stroud was able to do against Georgia, let alone all the physical tools, but everything he was able to do during those, 32 days or whatever it was, to become the leader that everybody wanted him to become, in the way Ohio State showed up against Georgia, who once again won by 58 points in the national championship. That came down to a field goal. Ohio State almost maybe makes it to the Natty because of how C.J. Stroud plays. Used his leg more. Everybody loves C.J. Stroud. Will Levis, he's 6'3", 240. He's got the build. He's got the body type. He could be the next NFL quarterback just strictly by looking at him. And also, you see some highlights of him spinning the ball. The guy can throw it. In the right NFL system, he can go. We like Stetson Bennett a lot after watching him play.
Yeah.
His accuracy seems to be one of his biggest things, and his moxie, two of the most important parts, we think, of being an NFL quarterback. Now, can't be a complete dipshit. Have to be able to learn the offense. Feels like he'll probably be able to do that. Maybe not. Who knows? But he could be a guy. The person nobody's talking about, and we should have brought this up 2 weeks ago whenever we said we wanted to. Hendon Hooker, 6'4". Okay, Hen and Hooker is 6'4", can move, beat Bama in Bama. Had an ACL, obviously, against South Carolina, I believe. Mm-hmm. So that kind of changed the trajectory of not only the Tennessee Vols, but also Hendon Hooker's draft stock and conversation. He's 24 years old, very mature. The Tennessee offense with Coach Heupel runs a lot of option routes. So that is him having to decide what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, versus defenses. Feels like he has a sophisticated football brain, and he was a game changer for this Tennessee Volunteer team. I'm a big Hendon Hooker fan. With modern science and modern technology, an ACL definitely sucks, but we've seen a lot of people be able to come back. Now, there'll be some old school people that say, he tore an ACL in college. He's going to get hurt in the NFL. Valid, might. But also, there's been a lot of people that have gotten hurt, had surgery, came back, never got hurt again. Frank Gore was allegedly going to be a problem physically whenever he got hurt at Miami. He only went on to play 55 years at running back, never missed a snap, and never wore pads. So there's so many different examples, if you like a guy or don't like a guy, that you can make to either put a guy over or bury him. Hendon Hooker needs to be a part of the conversation more, especially for a team that has a top 5 pick that is definitely looking for a quarterback. 6'4", 24 years old, one at Tennessee, one in Bama, we all know that, and had some big-time plays. He is not being talked about at all. I'm a Hooker guy, I think, all of a sudden.
Yeah, last year was 2 years ago, his 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This year, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions before he got hurt.
What are we talking about?
I believe
he's not even being talked
I think he was the
about?
Heisman favorite when he got hurt, if I remember correctly. It's probably just people forget. You have the injury and people forget, which I hope is not the situation for NFL scouts. Throws the deep ball incredible. I think it might be the intermediate routes, stuff like that. But he, those wideouts in that Tennessee offense, you talked about it. We've talked about it with Gabe Davis, and he throws an incredible deep ball. I think it's the intermediate accuracy that they're talking about right now.
Well, Trevor Lawrence, right? Intermediate accuracy, AQ Shipley.
Yeah.
Isn't that your big thing about Trevor Lawrence?
Yikes.
Yeah, but he can fix that. He'll be able to figure it out. He'll get it going as he grows. Hendon Hooker has not been talked about at all. Coach Pagano broke down some film on him 2 weeks ago whenever we were like, hey, look at Hendon Hooker. And I know Chuck knew who Hendon Hooker was, but he's not being talked about as one of the top guys in his quarterback class. I honestly don't know why. I guess because he's coming off a rehab or an ACL rehab. But in 2023, with the way rehabs go in the process, and it's almost down to a science, no offense, to get it all the way back, why not Hendon fucking Hooker? 6'4", winner, can spin it. What are we doing?
Yeah, mobile too. It's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind thing, but that's what doesn't make sense with Bill Levis. And granted, Bill Levis can be unbelievable. Hendon Hooker has beat some of the best teams in college football, whereas some of these other guys, haven't been able to do that. And who knows how Tennessee's season ends if he doesn't end up getting hurt. Maybe they do go to the college football playoff, and Bryce Young didn't. But it feels like you have to be in the college football playoff to be considered, up here at the top.
Will Levis is being talked about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kentucky didn't win at all.
Yeah, I know. He didn't.
Everybody's talking about Will Levis's offensive line not being good. He's got a guard going in second or third round or something like that. Not saying the other 4 were great or anything like that, but the whole convo is that this quarterback class, not necessarily the best quarterback class. Next year's quarterback classes, we don't know that.
Said that last year.
We have no idea who's going to do well in the NFL, who's not going to do well in the NFL. But him being absent from the convo is alarming to me.
Seems like he might kind of fall into that, like Russell Wilson. Like he gets picked up in like the 3rd round, and he goes into a situation where it's like, hey, this guy's going to be the backup, and then he kind of wows him during training camp, and by the time the season starts, it's like, hey, shit, let's roll the dice with this guy. I mean, you look at a couple of these teams, too, like Malik Willis. I mean, teams like that where they draft guys higher than maybe a lot of people thought they were going to go. Like, he started a bunch in college. He was incredible when he did play. If all you're looking to is like, oh, he tore his ACL, like, I would imagine you're going to know pretty early on in training camp, like, okay, he's back. He's back. And, he might be a little raw because he's young. But like you said, the more reps he gets, like, if your only concern with a guy is like, his intermediate accuracy needs to get a little bit better, like
We can do that to anybody.
there's a hell of a lot of guys in the NFL who have that same issue. Exactly.
Why hasn't he been talked about? I don't know. Tony, you love this draft. You love draft talk.
I do.
I am not a big draft talk guy, even though we have Draft Spectacular it's our biggest show every single year. Because who knows? Who knows who's going to be good, who's not going to be good, who's going to be able to battle whenever the football level is raised, who's going to be able to handle money and everything that comes along being in the NFL. And so I think it's all a big guessing game. Him not being chatted about is alarming to me.
It is a big guessing game right now. Like the top 3 are pretty much consensus in Young, Stroud, and Levis, and then like after that, people have different rankings. Like a lot of them have Anthony Richardson ahead of Hen and Hooker, which I wouldn't because.
How about Stetson? Is Anthony Richardson above Stetson?
Yes, yeah,
The guy had 0 touchdown throw for like 7 weeks.
First rounder, like almost unanimously, they're saying.
Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
Just because of how athletic he is, I
Yeah,
guess?
he's projected. A lot of these coaches think they'll be able to give him a couple years and they'll be able to kind of get the most out of him.
Guy had 0 touchdown passes for like 8 weeks as a college quarterback or 6 weeks as a college quarterback. And now he's leaving early. He's an NFL quarterback.
First rounder.
I don't know how that happens. I mean, go get your money. I hope AR-15 gets all the money in the world. I hope Will Levis, who's opted out of the bowl game and opted out of everything else, ends up getting drafted high. It's like, I don't know why Will Levis is doing that. I feel like he should be trying to play as much as he possibly can to prove that and separate himself from everybody else.
Yeah.
But what do we know? We're just a bunch of old fucks, I guess, talking in microphones.
And it changes from situation to situation because he did go to Kentucky. But I think you also look like when Jared Goff, and he had an incredible year this year, but I think there's a lot to be said about if you're getting drafted like, 1 or you're the first quarterback taken, if you don't fucking win in college, and granted, again, it's, he went to Kentucky, he didn't go to Alabama, but if you are that guy, like, you win at Kentucky. That's the way I feel, and I think there is a lot to be said about that.
I watched Pat White win at West Virginia.
Exactly.
Now, was he an NFL quarterback at the time? No. If he was coming out of college now, he would be the number 1 guy.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks for him. But, like, I feel like the quarterback kind of decides if you go or not.
Right.
So it's hard for me. I don't know. Maybe we're thinking too small.
No, because it's all the quarterbacks that are young in the league. Like Purdy won at Iowa State. He couldn't beat Iowa, but he still won. And then, Kenny Pickett, he won at Pitt. And then you even look at the second-year guys. Fields, he won.
Lawrence.
Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence. Like, even, you can even throw Zach Wilson in there because he won at BYU.
Oh, yeah, I remember him in a Coastal Carolina battle. You remember that? It was
right.
a Thursday night or whatever.
Scheduled the game on, like, Monday.
All right, let's get to a break. AQ, any thoughts on any of that?
Josh Rosen went 6-6 his senior year at UCLA.
Boom.
Boom. What was Josh Allen's record?
How about him just sitting on that, waiting?
I was waiting for that.
Look at you with a stat.
That was it.
Were you
Mahomes
with
is an outlier, but he's different.
Well, Cliff Kingsbury, that guy didn't win.
Yeah.
And then he gets, I don't know how that happened.
That one's
Yeah.
weird.
Kyler and Baker?
I think he's still
In Thailand.
I think so, yeah.